Chief O'Brien dislocated his shoulder kayaking. Lieutenant Worf likes pink drinks. And Geordie LaForge and Christy Henshaw make out in a turbo lift. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Seventh Rule with Cirroc Lofton.
Hello.
My name is Ryan T. Husk, and today we're doing a review of Star Trek The Next Generation, Season 3, Episode 25. Shows used to have 25 episodes in a season, maybe even more. Wow. Episode is called Transfigurations, written by our good pal, Renee Echevarria, directed by Tom Benko. The date was June 2nd, 1990. Where were you? How you doing today, Cirroc?
That's close to today's date. I'm doing great. Yeah. Transfigurations.
So, this is an episode I didn't really remember very much. You know, it's funny. I feel like I thought I'd seen all the Next Generation episodes, but a lot of them I just didn't remember. Or maybe I hadn't seen, because back in the day, you just saw what was on. And there were some episodes that you would see 5 times and other episodes that you saw 0 times. I'll tell you, one of the episodes I saw 5 times was another Geordie episode. So at the beginning of this episode, I was like, wait a minute. Is this that one Geordie episode? But it's not. No spoilers. I guess it's later on somewhere. It's not a great one. But anyway, what did you think? You've obviously never seen this episode before, but what was your overall feeling with it?
I'll say in the beginning, I was thinking, is this another Geordie is weird with the girls episode? You know what I mean? Is this like another one of those? And it started off like that. Like it started off like him talking to Worf, which is a great scene, by the way. Just Worf and LaForge shooting his shit. I love that. So that was a great open. But then I'm thinking, boy, this guy's reputation for not getting girls is getting like legendary.
It's getting out of hand, man.
It's on his profile right now. They got it. It's like when you pull up his Starfleet records, it's like top of the list. Like, awkward with girls, real smart with computers. So, I thought it was going to open like that. I'm glad it had a purpose for why they started that, because eventually we see, that I guess being in contact with this alien allowed him to heal from his awkwardness. I don't know. Is that what it was? Is that what they're saying?
Well,
he was healed by that neuro link or whatever it was.
Yeah, first of all, I just want to say that scene at the beginning, I agree. I loved it. Could have used some Guinan. Didn't need it. It was funny enough without it, but it would have been nice to have her, knowing glances and her, these silly rascals. But we could talk more about that scene later. Yeah, and I do think that even Lieutenant Barclay's like, geez, this guy sucks with women. Even Barclay's like, God, George, let me give you some advice, bro. But yeah, I will say that was the most confusing part of the episode to me. Was I thought they were going to explain the Geordie thing a little bit more, like when he left, Geordie goes back to being kind of awkward, or they explain, wow, that must have been something. So what they're saying, in essence, like you said, is that the guy healed him. But awkwardness isn't really, unless it was based on some past trauma of like in 9th grade, he asked a girl out and she dumped him and they all laughed at ha ha ha. And then ever since then, and so he healed him from that maybe. But I don't know. Yeah, that was just the one part that I wanted more explanation for, personally.
Me too. I got left holding the bag on this episode when it comes to Geordie's storyline. I just felt like there was more to be explained. And poor Henshaw, Miss Henshaw, right? So she becomes like essentially I don't know. She becomes the benefactor of Jordy getting some confidence and getting his swagger. So I guess that's a good thing because she looked like she was wanting that attention early on in the episode. So it doesn't look like he used a superpower of some sort in order to, you know, get a girl. He just actually, she wanted to be flirted with, and he completely doesn't know how to read those signs, which is crazy because he knows how to read this navigational info from a strange capsule that he finds on board of this ship, and he's able to dissect it and understand it. But she's like flirting with him, like, "Hey, so how you doing?" And he's like, "I don't know how I'm doing."
Yeah. So let me ask you this. Did you recognize Christy Henshaw?
Yeah, but I was going to leave that to you. I don't know where I saw Christy Henshaw before, but I remember the face. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Was she on DS9?
Well, no, she was in a previous episode of Next Generation and something else. Like for me, I was like, I definitely recognized her. And I was like, oh, was she in that previous episode? And I checked and she was, but I still felt like I had recognized her more beyond that. So the previous episode was Booby Trap, when Geordi falls in love with like that hologram recreation that he did towards the beginning of the third season. And remember at the beginning of that episode, the opening, he was on on the beach on a date with a woman, and there was the violinist kind of being like obnoxious and playing with them.
Yeah.
That was her.
Yeah.
And then she ends up going, "Oh, no thanks," or whatever, and kind of walking off. So that was her. And that's why they picked up where they left off with that storyline of him kind of having a crush on her and, not really working too well. So that's who Christy Henshaw is.
Oh, okay. So that even makes it more confusing for me. That doesn't help me.
Yeah,
And the reason it doesn't help me is because I don't know. So they already went on a date. He already worked up the nerve to talk to her. It went awkward. And then it seems like her vibe is different at this point in this episode because it wasn't the same as the last vibe that we saw her end on. I thought that's kind of makes it a little bit more confusing for me.
Yeah, let me see if I can find a picture of it's kind of a little grainy, but here it is, just to recall. The two of them looks like they're kind of watching the reverse sunset. They're like backlit and they're sitting on the beach, and this pirate was playing the violin for them. So anyway, that's Christy Henshaw, but she still looked familiar to me. So I looked her up a bit more. Her name is Julie Warner, actress Julie Warner. And then it hit me. I saw immediately what she is known for, or to me, Tommy Boy with Chris Farley, the very first Chris Farley movie with David Spade and a bunch of others. I must have seen that movie 20 times. Hilarious. Yeah. Very, very quotable movie. She is the main love interest in Tommy Boy. So that's what I recognized her from. See, check this out. Here's a shot from that. There she is. Good old Chris Farley.
Yeah. I knew she had a familiar face. I don't think I would have remembered her from the Booby Trap episode, but probably more likely from Tommy Boy, which I too owned a DVD copy of.
Oh, nice.
With other Chris Farley movies. Beverly Hills Ninja?
Yes. And was that his second or third? The second one was, damn, I can't remember. But anyway, he had Tommy Boy, then a second one, then Beverly Hills Ninja, I think was the third, but they were all good ones.
They were all good. Chris Farley was funny. I loved him from Saturday Night Live when he did that skit where he played a talk show host, and he would always say, "You remember when? you remember when you
you remember that time that you and Ali Sheedy were talking in the thing, and the guy's like, yeah, I remember that." He goes, "That was awesome." That was awesome, man. He'd be like, so stupid. Yeah, no, Chris Farley is
He was such
maybe
a
my
good
favorite SNL guy ever.
one of them. He's up on that list. He's on the Goat Mountain of SNL. But yeah, and his movies were funny to me. That was during that whole Adam Sandler time too. Adam Sandler was killing it during that time as well.
Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore. Yeah, those were all
Yes,
happening. Yeah, good stuff.
yeah, they were all happening at the same time. But yeah, back to this episode. It's so bad that even Riker says, "Hey, I don't remember you being hot with the ladies before." Something like, what did he call? He calls out Geordi in the turbo left, like, "I don't remember Miss Henshaw ever liking you," or something. Something that's like kind of like,
Yeah, poor
like his
Geordi.
reputation has spread across. Even the captain's like, "Geordi, what are you doing? I don't expect you to." It's like, whoa, this is
It's
made it
funny
to the
because
highest echelon.
I didn't remember. And by the way, that second Chris Farley movie was Black Sheep. So
Oh yeah,
it
oh
was
yeah,
Tommy Boy, then Black Sheep, and then Beverly Hills Ninja.
yeah.
But I didn't remember Geordi being so bad with the ladies. Like I remember the fans talking about how bad he was with the ladies based on the episodes. But I had forgotten that in the episodes themselves, even the crew's like, oh boy, Geordi doesn't know what the heck. He doesn't know whether to shit or go sailing with women. He doesn't know anything.
Didn't we just see Wesley saying
Oh,
something to him in like an episode or two ago? Wesley even called him out in that moment where it's like, well, at least I can, at least I get a date with. I don't have to date a holosuite program or something to
yeah.
that
And he's
effect.
like, at least my idea of a Friday night isn't sitting with a good book.
When
Oh,
Wesley,
man.
that was before he even got his uniform. Still, you know,
Yeah, it's pretty bad. So
oh
I
man,
didn't remember this. I didn't remember him getting healed. I didn't remember, this guy's outfit here.
yeah, this guy's outfit is a whole segment by itself. We might have to pick that up on second half. Where I don't know. It was too much for me.
Too much what? Too much fabric?
uh, yeah, it was too tight and too revealing. It was almost like a see through. Almost it wasn't the kind of thing that you want to be wearing as an adult male. It was
You
too
know,
revealing.
what's funny about that is that just a week ago, I saw a meme and I should have saved it because I didn't realize it was just for this next week's episode. But I saw a meme in a Star Trek group where it says like, basically the way Star Trek is they heal up a guy and the guy's like, hey, do you have any spare clothes I can wear? And then Star Trek, gives him this, like, which is,
Yeah.
it's such a Star Trek thing to do where it's like, why don't they just give him like jeans and a t-shirt? Let him they're like, oh, here we nursed you back to health and saved you. Oh, you need clothing. Yeah, we got just the thing for you, pal. Here, why don't you put in? And he's like, why can't I wear what, everybody else, everybody, no, why do I got to wear this crap? Anyway.
Well, I have a theory about that. I actually thought this one out. This is what I spent my time thinking about in this episode, ironically. But I thought Dr. Crusher, which is a great name for her in this episode because she has a
Yeah.
super crush. She is a Dr. Crusher in this particular moment. Uh, Dr. Crusher says, "Hey, I like this guy. There's something about him that fascinates me and I'm attracted to, whatever it
Mm-hmm.
is." And then she picks out that outfit. She wants to see what's going on. And she's like, "I think Wesley has an old outfit somewhere." Yes.
From when he was 13 that he could squeeze
Yes.
into.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, it's
That's
too
what I'm
tight. Let's
seeing.
peel it off.
That's what I'm seeing. That's totally a Wesley
Yeah.
style. That's what's one of his styles. And she pulled it out and said, "You know what? I remember Wesley when this got too small for him. Maybe it's too small for this
It,
John Doe over here."
it kind of looks like a Bashir racquetball outfit too. But
Yeah, yeah,
here's something. So this episode had a lot of great things to it. and it felt like this episode may have had some kind of edits or cuts or something, because the Crusher crush on John Doe never went anywhere. And I expected it to. And then Geordi's, situation with women didn't quite go anywhere. It's like it had all these great elements and like a B story and a C story, and they never quite fully. I mean, obviously it all worked because we understand what happened at the end. But I was curious. I wanted to know more, like, oh, is Beverly Crusher going to pursue this? Is this going to resolve in some way? Is Geordi going to go back to how he was? What's going to be the resolution? We got the perfect resolution for the A story. It all worked perfectly. But the problem is a lot of these writers may not know, but the nerds like me, we pay attention to every single detail. And if you give us a little side scene for one of our favorite characters, we go, oh, I want to know more about that. So it's like,
absolutely,
we're kind of never happy. We're kind of like, I want a B story so we can explore more of these other characters. But then we're also like, well, that wasn't enough. It's like, when are you going to be happy? But that's just kind of how we are sometimes.
yeah, and I'm with you on that too, because I felt like the Dr. Crusher, we haven't seen somebody really that she has been attracted to aside from Picard, right? I think that's the only other person we've really seen
There was like
so
also a
far.
terrorist, a few weeks back. Remember there was like a terrorist that captured her. I feel like they had an attraction. I mean, they certainly got along okay. I don't remember if they actually went into full blown attraction, but yeah, other than that, we just know that she likes Picard. That's it.
Yeah, and it would have given me like, I was starting to get like a sense of the kind of guy she would like, essentially by seeing this guy, and I was wondering what is it about him that she, is it the mystery? What is it about his personality that she says, I'm attracted to this person, and would really this kind of step out of bounds from just her professional, so I don't know what that was. I couldn't, even after watching this episode, pinpoint a charm about him necessarily. It was more of a mystery. Um, so
Well,
yeah, I that was
yeah,
difficult for me.
that's a really good thought. Like that makes me want to like say, okay, well, she's attracted to Picard, she's attracted to this John Doe guy. What do they have in common? One thing I'm seeing is that, Picard's got a lot of wrinkles all over his neck. This guy's got the wrinkles on his face. Maybe that's a no, but in seriousness, um, I think, look, they both have a certain calm and
Okay.
confidence, compassion that this guy shows more than Picard. Picard's is only coming out recently, but it feels like it's like an inner strength, a calm, a confidence. I think that's the only thing I can see between the two of them. Otherwise, they are two pretty different types.
I would say, and now that we're talking about it, something else that kind of pops up to mind is that Picard is an enigma. He's kind of a puzzle to Crusher. Like she's trying to figure out what makes him work, right? It's kind of, we as the audience are still trying to figure it. We know he likes Shakespeare. We know he's into this. We know that he's compassionate in moments, but he's also serious at other times. But we're still trying to find out what makes him tick. Like what is his thing, and um, it's still not evident, right? He's still a puzzle. He's still an enigma. He's still like there still feels to be there's more layers to pull back of Picard. Like he's a really a deep kind of character, and I think that is also something I do get from this John Doe character. There was this like there was more to pull back. There's more to reveal. There's something underneath this. There's something bigger. There's like this. I can keep digging and finding something. And at the end of the episode, we see that he is this kind of transformed character in this way. So I think maybe the enigma part is what she likes. The puzzle.
Yeah, I think the toughest part of this episode must have been his evolution because he turned into you know, a ball of energy guy, right?
Yeah,
Basically in 45 minutes. So they kind of had to demonstrate that evolution bit by bit by bit for us to believe, like, wow, that was quick. You know, I'm such a jerk too, because my first thought is when they turned him into the ball of energy guy, I always like look in and try to zoom in. I'm like, I can see wrinkles on his sleeve. I can see folds from the outfit, you know. Like, come on, it's 1990. Give him a break. But that's what I do.
yeah. Well, it's funny when you said ball of energy. I was thinking that's what his costume reminded
What what do you mean?
No. We got to
Yes, the
segue. I got to
old
segue. I got to
ball of
segue to
energy.
O'Brien.
Yes.
And I thought O'Brien is always a ray of sunshine for me. It's a moment of fresh air when I get to see Miles O'Brien caught up in his own thing. You know what I mean? It's always O'Brien is in his own thing,
Yeah.
really. Everybody's going around like, the ship's going this, and he's like, I'm in my thing.
You know what it is? He is the star of the O'Brien show on the Enterprise.
Yes.
And he
Yes.
sits there 23 and a half hours a day in the holodeck, or not in the holodeck, in the transporter room, just kind of sitting there fantasizing about, like, and then I'm going to go kayaking and hurt my shoulder, and I chew
Yes.
gum sometimes. It's infused with scotch, and he's doing all this stuff. And then everyone's, oh man, here comes the action. Here comes, oh, Riker and Picard are here. Here comes, and they just go, energize. And fucking energize. All you ever care about is energize. And okay, energize. And he's like, all right, so what's next, Captain and Commander? What do we? And then they walk off, and then he's like, okay. But yeah, he's like,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
O'Brien is the star of the O'Brien show, and
Of the O'Brien show.
it's such a treat every time he's on the screen for me. Like, and I saw his name show up at the bottom of the screen beforehand. It said Colomina. I was like,
Yeah.
yes, we're gonna get an O'Brien. I'm just so grateful that they kept figuring out ways to include Colomini in this show. And then obviously it turned into what he got on Deep Space Nine because he was so charming and likable. They just kept bringing him back. And I'm just so grateful that they did, because every time he's on screen, I'm happy. I'm very happy.
I'm happy too when I see him. I'm like, oh, the O'Brien show's back. And the thing is, I guess he lives in these hollow suites because Deep Space Nine really explored that as well, right? And now we see this guy really lives inside these hollow suites. You know, he's there all the
The
time.
transporter room?
No, the hollow suites because he was kayaking, right?
Oh, right. That's right. And then
Yeah.
he and Bashir were always
Yes.
playing. You're right.
Yeah. So like he really is kind of like, like trying to find adventure in his life. You nailed it when you talked about his transporter room kind of boringness, right? Because he's always doing some boring stuff essentially. And so you see that he seeks adventure a lot in the hollow suites. He's always doing something in there.
Mm-hmm. You know, we got to jump to our break right now, but there was also a major cameo from one of our favorite guests on the Seventh Rule. Uh, who was that? Well,
Yeah.
we'll tell you in a moment. On the other side, we'll be right back on the Seventh Rule.